Hello designers, you're welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this dress with a small cowl neck. I'll be using this fabric. It's a silk fabric. So because it's a silk fabric, I have to be careful when cutting it. So I'm going to fold it into two. I'll use the biggest measurement, which is the hip circumference. I'll use that to fold it. Then I'm going to pin it down very well because I'm going to be moving the fabric for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm also going to cut off the extra fabric because it's dragging the one I want to use. I already started teaching using my chalk to draw the lines, but I realized the lines were not showing. Even for me, I could not see the lines well. So I checked the video and realized the lines were not really showing. So I stopped and opted for a pattern, an already made pattern. So I already made a video of how to make a simple blouse or bodice pattern. So you can check it out if you don't know how to make a pattern. This is the back piece that I'm cutting. So I'm going to place the pattern on the fabric and then I'm going to shift up the shoulder part of the pattern because this dress does not have a shoulder. So I'm going to be minusing about 4.5 to 5 inches from the paper just so I can get where the dress will be starting from. So I'll carefully place it down and then I'll pin the paper down. At that side where I have the fold on the fabric, that part is going to be for my zipper allowance. So I'm going to be using about 1.5 inches for zipper allowance. And then I've confirmed that this pattern is close to the size that I want. I'm going to trace out the armhole, trace out the body and trace it all the way down to get my dress. Then I'm going to cut it out. I'll slit that part because that part is for the zipper. Then the down part of the dress, the end part of the dress, from the hip, I went in a bit just to give it like a fish or a mermaid shape. So I went in after the hip towards the knee. I went in around the knee by about 1 inch, just 1 inch. I went in by 1 inch and brought it out. So when I raise this fabric, you're going to see what I mean. I'm trying to secure the two pieces of fabric with my pin. And then the down part, this is what I was talking about. You can see the shape. I went in around the knee and then came back out to form like a fish or mermaid shape. And this dress is a 3/4 dress. It doesn't get to the ankle. It stops at the calf area. So it's a 3/4 dress. So I went in around the knee and came back out around the 3/4 length. So this is the back piece. I've gone ahead to pin the zipper allowance. I've pinned it down and then this is what it looks like. Down there I cut off about 1 inch or 0.75 at the side and balanced it back to the middle point because of the A-line effect, the fish effect. So I've spread the fabric again on the table and now I'm placing the back piece on it. I'm trying to get the front piece now. The fabric underneath, I'm going to leave about 5 inches at the top. So the front is longer or higher than the back part by 5 inches. So this side that I'm cutting, when I cut it, I'll cut the same shape, but when I get towards the under bust area, I won't continue cutting it that way. I'll slant out my hand because I want the front part to be longer, wider. Apart from being longer, I want it wider than the back a little bit, and because of the cowl effect. So you can see I I didn't straighten my hand, I went out. So for the other side, I'll do the same. When I'm cutting the side, I'll cut the hip, I'll cut the waist, but when I get towards the underbust, I'll slant out my hand, make it bigger than the fabric. I will adjust it later to what I need. When I shift the fabric down, you will see what I mean. I'm going to pin down the front and the back well because I need to shift this fabric. I'll just pin it around the bust and the underbust area so that when I shift it doesn't scatter. Okay, so this is what I mean. You can see that the front piece is longer at the top by about 5 inches, and then by the side there I didn't cut the armhole, I just slanted my hand forward and increased the wideness because I want to use that to get my cowl neck. You'll see what I will do now. So I'm confirming that that is 5 inches and it's okay. So I'm going to flip the two pieces and then the front part will be on top now, and then I'll try to achieve my cowl neck. I'm going to be having two pleats for my cowl neck, so I'm just going to pleat the 5 inches extra I have on top. I'll just pleat it, I'll just make two pleats, and then I'll bring the fabric inside, I'll bring it down as low as you want your front to be. You bring it down. For this one, I don't want it too low, I don't want to reveal too much, so about 1.5 inches lower than the back neckline, so it's fine for me. And then I'm going to pin it down when I've achieved my desired drape effect that I want. Like I said earlier, it's just a simple drape effect. It's not a full drape or a deep plunging drape. It's just a simple drape. So I'll pin it down on both sides, flip it back again. Now I'm going to trim the armhole. Now that I have the shape I want, I'll trim out the armhole. So that is how I achieved my cowl neck for the front piece. I'm going to remove the pins and then I'm going to cut facing for the front and for the back. This is what it looks like. I'm going to remove the pins and then I'm going to separate the front and the back and cut the facing for front and back. I'm going to take the remaining fabric, place it on the table, and then place the front piece on it, right sides facing each other. Then I'll trace out the shape of the neckline, the pleat, the armhole area, and then the side. I'm extending my facing into the bust area. So from the armhole, I have about 3 inches or 3.5 inches for the facing. I'm going to trace the same shape that I have there. You can see that that armhole part, after the armhole part, is not straight because of the pleats I have there. So I'm going to follow that same shape. Yeah, so I'll fold it into two and try to balance it. Now I'm cutting the back piece, so I folded the fabric into two because the back piece is in two pieces. The facing will also have zipper allowance, and then I'll trace out the armhole and the side 3 inches below the armhole or 3.5. That space is for my zip, and then about 1 inch I'm going to curve it this way because I don't want it straight. Even the front is not straight, I curved it a bit. I feel it relaxes better when it's curved. It's able to stretch and to expand, but when it's straight there can be friction. That's my preference anyway. So I'm going to be using this piece of fabric to cut the strap. I'm going to be cutting about 11 inches for each strap. So after folding into two, I'll cut 1 inch. When it's opened is 2 inches, and the length I need about 11 inches for each strap. So I'll fold this into two and then I'll sew 0.5 and turn it out because the strap I need is about 0.5 inch. I've gone ahead to sew it and then I'm turning it out. I closed one end of the strap, by the way. I've used half inch to close one end of the strap. So this strap is no longer 11 inches. It is now 10.5 inches after sewing. And then the wideness is half an inch. I'm going to open the back piece. I'll place the facing on it, right sides facing each other. And then I'll put the strap in between them. Then at that part where I have the armhole, I'm going to leave a 0.5 inch or 0.75 inch because I'm going to be sewing the armhole part by a 0.5. So I don't want a situation where after sewing the armhole, I'm going to pick part of the strap. So that is why I'm leaving space. Then I'll pin it down properly. Go and sew the armhole by half inch, sew the top by half inch. I'll do that for both sides. I won't sew the side and that zipper area yet. I'll only sew the armhole and the top. I'll be using 0.5 to sew the two of them. I'm done sewing it and I'm going to remove my pins. Then I'm going to notch the armhole area so that I can relax when I turn it over. I'm going to turn it inside out now. So the edge of the facing down there, I'm going to fold it by half an inch and then I'll sew it. I won't sew it on the back fabric. I'll sew only the facing this way. I've gone ahead to sew it and this is it. Now I'm going to fix my zip and then I'll go ahead and trace my darts. I couldn't get a ash color zip, so that is why I got this color of zip and it worked fine. And it's an invisible zip. If you want to make invisible zip, I have a video already that explains that. Please check it out. So this is how I transfer my darts. This is how I do my darts. I'll place the back piece, fold them together, pin them down, place them down, then I'll then I'll use my tape rule to get my bust span, also known as nipple to nipple. So I'll get my bust span and then use it to draw my darts. I couldn't use a chalk because I needed to see the exact point where the dart will fall, so I had to use a black pen to do that. I normally use pin to transfer my darts, so I only draw the darts on one part of the fabric and then I'll use pin to transfer it to the other side of the back and then you also transfer it to the front piece. That is what I'm doing here. After drawing the dart, I'm going to use pin to punch the important part of the dart, flip the fabric over and then mark what I have there. I'm done transferring my darts, and now I've gone ahead to sew the darts. This is the front piece. I'm going to place it down, and I'll also place the facing on it, right sides facing each other. Then I'm going to sew the edge by half an inch. After sewing it, I'll flip it back again, and then I'll go and sew the edge of the facing. So I've gone ahead to do that now. I used half inch to fold it inside. Now I'm going to sew the armhole and that upper part of the neckline. I'll follow the shape as it is, the zigzag way it looks. I'll follow that shape. So this is it. I'm done sewing it. I'm going to notch the armhole. And then I'll turn this inside out. After turning it inside out, I'm going to make my pleats. The two pleats I made earlier, I'm going to now repeat it again. I'll make sure by that armhole part that the pleats are overlapping well, because I'm going to be sewing down that armhole area. So I want it to have a neat look when I sew down the pleats. I'm going to measure the armhole area and be sure everything is okay. It is what I need. If it is not, I'll readjust the pleats and make sure the armhole length is what I actually need. So when you have achieved your desired cow neck effect and the armhole length, everything is okay, you go ahead and stitch the armhole part down. You edge stitch it. You know we already tidied it before, but now you just arrange the pleats on top of each other, let them look nice, and you edge stitch it. I'm going to place the back piece on top of the front piece now, right sides facing each other. Normally I'm supposed to insert this strap into that front neckline when I was sewing it, but because I was not sure of the fitting on the owner of the dress, so I had to leave it. When she comes, I'll fit it on her and then know the length I need for the strap exactly. She's not a client that I have to send the dress to. She is a client that can be available for fitting. So that is why I left that strap. I'll sew the two sides and then fold the hem. That is all.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please kindly like, share, comment, subscribe if you're new here, and click the notification bell. Thank you.